This is Play Action Cast
What's it about? Sports and stuff, I guess.
with Jeff Malinoff.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of the Play Action Cast. My name is Jeff Malinoff and I'm very excited for today as again this is the very first episode. And we have stuff to talk about in the world of sports, of course. This will be a NFL draft episode, if you will. I will have my mock draft for the entire episode. There might be some surprise in there, maybe even later in the rounds, who knows. But I know, because there will be surprises. I will surprise you with some of my mock drafts. I can almost guarantee that. But before we get into that, I just want to introduce myself, get you guys to know something about me, and also what this show will be about. So let me start off by saying who I am. Like I said, my name is Jeff Malinoff. A little bit about me. Grew up in the world of sports my whole life. Grew up in a football sports family. Played all the sports my whole life. Played it at a young age, as my brothers and my father did before me. And I grew up in a little town called Davis, California. And like I said, I grew up in sports. My dad was a all-star edge rusher in high school. And he grew up in sports. He helped coach football for my brothers. He coached me in Little League and baseball, and I did basketball as well. And so I just grew up in the world of sports my whole life and always had a passion for it. And like I said, I grew up in California. My great-grandfather was actually in one of the very first games at Kezar Stadium for the 49ers in the 40s and 50s. And it kind of stuck with my family ever since. That's why I grew up a 49ers fan, that it was my team. There won't be much bias, I would say, with the 49ers, but I am going to talk about all sports and not just speak about the 49ers, of course. But that is my take in the world of football. Baseball, of course, my father went to Giants games and that kind of thing, so football, baseball's in there. Grew up also a hockey fan. One of my first games I remember as a kid was a 4-overtime game in the playoffs between the Sharks and the Dallas Stars. That was my first, wow, hockey's really great. So there will be some hockey stuff in there too. Like I said, baseball, basketball, football as well will be also on the agenda when it comes to this show. And I plan to do this show starting 3 shows a week, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing. Today's Thursday, I know, but after this is just the first episode. But it's going to be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show. So there will be a show tomorrow as well. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be the agenda and when will be the schedule for the shows. That is my plan. There could be some other surprise shows on the weekends and kind of thing. Breaking news shows maybe. I'm just going to go with it. Just my plan is Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows. So that is what you can expect. All the sports topics to talk about and whatever the news will be. Today, like I said, today is going to be an NFL draft because it's coming up and it's picking up pace on trades and pro days and stuff like that. So there is a lot to talk about in the world of the draft and maybe some other lawsuits pending on a certain quarterback. But regardless of that, we will get into the NFL draft. Like I said, I have my own mock draft, but this is what you should expect. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, these when the shows will be most likely uploaded. So, let's get right into it. Let's get into the draft. Recently, the Atlanta Falcons are saying the 4th overall pick is on the trade block. So, right now, my mock draft still has the Falcons with the 4th overall pick. But if that changes, I might have to change up my mock draft. Or I just say who those two teams take, whoever is involved in the trades. So, at the beginning of the draft, it seemed like there was the top 3 picks, like I said, were the Jaguars, Jets, and then the Dolphins. So, the quarterback, there wasn't really a quarterback discussion with the 3rd overall pick. But now, of course, with the 49ers trading up 2 firsts and a 3rd next year for that number 3 pick, or actually 3 firsts because they swapped their first-round picks this year. Regardless of that, it seems like they've already announced they're going to take a quarterback. It's done. It's put it in the books. The question is, who's that quarterback going to take? There's a lot of aspects of that situation, but also when you look down, we also have the Panthers trading for Sam Darnold, which everyone seemed that was where the remaining quarterback of the top 4, when you look at Fields, Wilson, Lawrence, and Lance. Those were the top 4 quarterbacks, and then Mac Jones got into the mix. So it seems like if the fourth quarterback taken would have went to the Panthers. But now, with that trade with Darnold, it seems that's not the case. So my mock draft has been updated accordingly. So let's talk about it. Let's go right into this mock draft. First overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, Clemson. Duh. That's an obvious duh. It's happening. Urban Meyer took the job for the Jaguars, specifically for Trevor Lawrence. Now, I will say they have another pick coming up in the draft. They have another pick coming in from the LA Rams. The new Jacksonville Jaguars, general manager is Trent Baalke. And his last general manager job was with the 49ers, so I have knowledge of this guy. He's terrible, in my opinion. And I think every 49er fan would tell you the same thing. Primarily because his first draft pick with the 49ers was the 30th overall pick in the 2012 draft. And this was after their first 13-3 season with Jim Harbaugh. He picked A.J. Jenkins, wide receiver from Illinois. And just, if you don't know who that is, exactly my point. He picked a quarterback that was, or wide receiver, that was nowhere near going to go in the first round. And that's what you get with Trent Baalke. He tries to outsmart everyone. I'm going to pick this guy no one expects to be picked, and I'm going to look like a genius. A genius. Al Davis wishes he was me. Al Davis was dead by this point, but he would still say that because he takes a lot from Al Davis of the I'm going to outsmart you ideas. So that was Trent Baalke's first general manager decision, basically. And then 4 years later, he's fired because the Niners are into the ground. He single-handedly took a shovel, dug up a grave, and put the 49ers in that grave. And other guys had to dig it out. Tom Sula tried, couldn't do it. His shovel was basically broken from the start. Then they get Chip Kelly, and he just throws the shovel away. He's like, I don't want this shovel. No, keep it buried. And then they have Kyle Shanahan, who desperately takes it. And then John Lynch comes out and over, hey, you need a hand? Yeah, sure, thanks. And then dug them out of the grave. And they slipped into the grave with all the injuries now, but there's no dirt over them, so they can climb out of that grave easily. That's who you got, Jaguars. You got a bad general manager. Is he going to make up for that lost time of being a terrible draft pick guy? We'll see. But he has a home run right here in Trevor Lawrence. If he doesn't pick Trevor Lawrence, I don't know. I'll stop this podcast. I'll just stop ahead of time because there's no way that's happening. I'll sell my computer. I'll sell my microphone. I'll sell my car if he doesn't pick Trevor Lawrence in the number 1 overall pick. All right. So the obvious one's done. With the second pick, with Sam Darnold gone, quarterback is a must. But the question is it Zach Wilson or is it Justin Fields? So, with the second pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU. It's just a home run. I think Zach Wilson's the second best quarterback in this draft. He has the intangibles to be a great starter. And the problem is, for Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson both, they are going to terrible teams. But I think Zach Wilson's going to a worse team than the Jags. The Jags did well with their offseason acquisitions. I will give them that. They got some key players for their defense and a couple offensive guys. But they still need help on the offensive line situation. But the Jets need help every single place on the field. So I feel like in my prediction with Zach Wilson going to the Jets, he's going to have a rough year. I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to have a very tough time in the Jets offense. And it's not because of the head coach. Robert Saleh is still he's a rookie head coach, his first head coaching position in the NFL. He's a great motivator, great defensive mind. We'll see how he does when he takes control of the entire team with the trust he has with his assistant coaches. I think he's a leader. I think he's a very good leader to have at the helm and I think players gravitate to him. You can see it a lot in San Francisco, and I think he'll be a great head coach. But I will not blame him for what happens to Zach Wilson at the end of this year when he's getting sacked 19 times because his offensive line is actually a turnstile for everybody else. But that is my take on that, of course. And that's how it's going to go. The Jets it's not going to be good. I think we're still in a deep, deep rebuild. The Jets are going to have a long way to go. But with a quarterback, the intangibles of Zach Wilson, I think they'll be good in the quarterback position for many years to come. Now, here is the big one. The third pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. No, it's not Mac Jones. It will never be Mac Jones. And I hate this. Maybe hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike this narrative of Mac Jones is the prototypical quarterback. They're going to get another Jimmy G. I just don't see that. They would not trade 2 first-round picks and next year's third-round pick for a guy that was not projected to go past them in the draft. Mac Jones was, before the national championship game, he was projected to go in the second round. Had a great national championship thanks to a lot to his wide receiver, Heisman winner, who's going to go maybe sooner rather than later in this draft. Who knows? You got to stick around. And for what it's worth, they're not going to trade 2 firsts for a guy that's projected that low. They moved up because the top 2 quarterbacks available, because they knew Trevor Lawrence was going to drop to them, the 2 quarterbacks available after Trevor Lawrence were the guys that they wanted. It's not Mac Jones. I almost guarantee you, you know what? I do guarantee you. I guarantee you it's not Mac Jones because it can't be Mac Jones because why would they sacrifice that much to a guy that's not projected to go that high? I don't know what these analysts are actually thinking. It's ridiculous. No one trades that much capital for that high of a pick for a guy that's not supposed to go that high in the first place. It just doesn't make sense. It makes no logical sense to me that that's happening. So that's why I have Justin Fields. He's one of the best quarterbacks in that draft. He has that elusiveness that the 49er quarterbacks have lacked for years since Colin Kaepernick. Because when you look at the quarterbacks, Nick Mullins and Jimmy Garoppolo, they can't run out of the pocket very well. When the pocket collapses on them, they just take the sack, basically, and that's just what it is. So if you get an elusive guy, I see the Trey Lance one. I do see how people pick Trey Lance because they have the same elusiveness, and that, again, that's what's lacking with a lot of 49er quarterbacks recently. And so they just need a guy that can really open up the offense, that can run out of the pocket and make some plays outside of the pocket. They have pocket passer and Jimmy Garoppolo. And why I think the 49ers have the best situation for a quarterback to go in is because they're not thrown into the fire right away. And they have the most built team, most sound team roster of the top 3 picks. Mainly because the reason they didn't make the playoffs this year is because everyone and their mother got injured. Their MRI truck broke, their plane broke, their stadium, they couldn't even play in their stadium. They had every single starter basically get injured. How are you supposed to win with that? You can't. Honestly, I would have fired the training staff, but that they haven't yet. So with that, the 49ers don't need to start him right away. That's why they're going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to start this season and most likely get injured because the man's legs are made of sticks, apparently, and just snap on a dime. And so he's going to... this is my prediction. Jimmy Garoppolo's going to start. By week 6, he'll get injured. Justin Fields will take over, and they'll still make the playoffs. Because, again, if the team stays healthy, they are title contenders. They are playoff contenders. They are NFC West contenders because they still have they re-signed a lot of their key guys. They re-signed a lot of their secondary. They re-signed key guys, their fullback. They re-signed guys they needed. So they are still have a majority of their Super Bowl team from a couple years ago. They just need to stay healthy. That's just the bottom line. That's why I think Justin Fields, or whoever gets drafted by the 49ers at that quarterback position, is in the best situation possible because they're not thrown into the fire right away, and they can have a couple games or a season to marinate in the NFL style. All right. With the 4th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Penei Sewell, Offensive tackle, Oregon. And I know a lot of them are saying he's going to go to the Bengals. But with these top 3 quarterbacks being taken and Matt Ryan still playing at a good level, and they have offensive weapons, they still get it done offensively with their wide receivers and a good running game. If they booster that offensive line, that could be a big benefactor. They lost their starting center. I know he's not going to play center, obviously, but it's still good to booster that offensive line and make that offense as unstoppable as possible. So that's why I have the best offense. Like, it's 19 and still a monster. I mean, for the Falcons, they can't pass up that kind of offensive line help, regardless of how their offensive line is now. You can't go wrong with taking a non-sexy pick, obviously, but someone that could really make sure that Matt Ryan, who is obviously still getting older, to be protected in next season. So that's why I have Penei Sewell going to the Falcons at number 4. All right, so where does that leave the Bengals? Well, with the 5th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Rashawn Slater, tackle, Northwestern, who is the 2nd best tackle in the draft. If you see him in his pro days and his college bowl, he has been doing, or Senior Bowl, excuse me, he has been playing extremely well, and I think he'll be a great help to that line. I mean, they drafted Jonah Williams a couple years ago before Joe Burrow. He's had a plethora of injuries. We hope he gets healthy. If he gets healthy and then Slater gets healthy, that could be 2 tackles on either side of the ball. That could be a very deadly situation for the defensive line they are going to match up against. And I think that will help Joe Burrow a lot if he has 2 first-round tackles who are healthy and able to help him not tear his ACL and not get absolutely dogpiled by the defensive line. So obviously the Bengals will go to affect the offensive tackle anyways, but with Sewell gone, they're going to take Slater with the 5th pick. And now it's the Dolphins pick, and with the 6th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. Yes, the Heisman Trophy winner is the first wide receiver off the board, and I will tell you why. Alabama ties, like as with Tua, so they have that Alabama Crimson Tide in them, and just he can single-handedly change the outcome of a game. I know Jamar Chase was a big one to be taken by the Dolphins, or the first wide receiver taken, but I'm sorry, I think Devontae Smith, he's a skinny little guy, but he can get the job done. I see a lot of potential in Devontae Smith. I think he will fit that Miami Dolphins system very well. I think he's a good run after the catch kind of guy. I think, like with Tua, he can just throw quick slants right to Devontae Smith, and he can do the rest kind of thing. Or you can throw it deep, and Devontae Smith, again, has those lengthy arms. He can make those plays. I think Devontae Smith will be a perfect system wide receiver and a perfect help for Tua in his first year as the full starter. So that's why I have Devontae Smith being the first wide receiver taken to the Miami Dolphins. Now, with the 7th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU. So yes, Jamar Chase instead goes to the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry, Jamar. I'm sorry you have to go to Detroit. But they have a new head coach. You got Jared Goff. There could be a turning of the tide possibly in Detroit. And with a stellar receiver like Jamar Chase, I think that'll be a great help for Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions offense. Losing Kenny Golladay, they get Jamar Chase in the draft. All right. With the 8th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers selects Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida. What? Not a quarterback? Not Trey Lance? Well, because they traded for Sam Darnold. Everyone thought Sam Darnold was going to go, or Trey Lance was going to go to the Panthers, but then he goes and they make a trade for Sam Darnold. And why not take the best tight end to come out of college since, well, you can't say Travis Kelce or George Kittle because they were both late round selections. So this guy has all the hype of those 2 guys, but those 2 guys didn't get drafted very high because, again, they were products of the system, if you will, in their respective colleges. So he has the potential of being a George Kittle or Travis Kelce, a great receiver, a monster. If you see this dude, he looks like just a guy, if you saw him in a dark alley, be like, okay, I'm just going to turn around and run the other way as fast as I can because this man will turn me into paste if I mess with him. So he's got that intimidation factor. He can block. He can catch the ball like any great receiver. I think he'll be an absolutely magnificent addition for Sam Darnold in the Carolina Panthers. I think he'll be a fantastic choice. And I think with all the other receivers, you cannot pass up Kyle Pitts in this situation. That's why the Panthers go with him. Sorry, Jerry Jones. I know you were infatuated, quote, with Kyle Pitts, but he goes to Carolina. Now, with the ninth pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State. Yes, that's where he ends up. Trey Lance is the fourth quarterback selected and goes to Denver. Drew Lock is not the guy they thought he was. He has the swagger, but he didn't play well the last couple of years. Doesn't seem like the guy that is going to lead Denver. And I know this is not a John Elway kind of quarterback, tall, bulky, and can throw it deep, or not, or you know what I mean, but doesn't have that intangibles that John Elway likes. He's not a John Elway lookalike, if you will. So with Trey Lance, I think he becomes the Denver quarterback day one, and we'll see how he does with that team. That team is kind of like in the middle. I just go like, they're just kind of there. They have Jerry Jeudy. I think Trey Lance, that Jerry Jeudy Trey Lance duo could mean big things in Denver, but that is going to be Denver's selection because Drew Lock is not the guy. All right, moving on. With the 10th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, they need help on the secondary. They get one of the top cornerbacks in this draft. This is a very wide receiver and quarterback heavy draft, if you ask me. And I think taking one of the best corners in the draft, maybe should be Patrick Surtain, maybe Caleb Farley, who knows? But I think J.C. Horn is the best available corner, number one, to go to the Dallas Cowboys, which would help them in the long run because they need defensive help. I think that is the point that is really hurting this team. So I think defense over offense in this situation. All right. With the 11th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State. Dude is a beast. His pro day, he's a beast. He runs a 4.5 or I think 4.4. The dude is a monster. Dude's speed. He's Patrick Willis, Ray Lewis kind of intangibles of quick, but hard-hitting at the same time. He has just that power and speed that you love in a linebacker, and I don't see the Giants taking or passing that. They already got a wide receiver in Kenny Golladay in the free agency, so they don't need to go and pick a wide receiver right away. There's going to be some later on in the draft, which they could take up, and so I just see that happening. So Micah Parsons, I think, is a perfect linebacker for the Giants and boosting up that defense that needs much needed help. All right. With the 12th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama. And again, this is why Mac Jones, I think, was touted so highly, or that's why I don't see him touted so highly, is because he has two wide receivers that are first-round prospects, and you got to look at that and say, was it the offense around him, or was it really him? I really believe that Mac Jones can be a good quarterback, but that's why I don't see him in the top three prospect. So Jalen Waddle, they tried Rager last year. They picked Rager last year. The Eagles did over Brandon Ayuk and I believe Justin Jefferson, if I'm not mistaken there. So they dropped the ball on the wide receiver from TCU. They get Jalen Waddle, a top wide receiver prospect from Alabama, and I think that really helps out Jalen Hurts in his first string quarterback duties, and he gets a highly touted wide receiver, from Alabama. All right, with the 13th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Christian Darrisaw, tackle, Virginia Tech. And yes, they do take a tackle because protect Justin Herbert at all times. He is your franchise quarterback. He is going to be that guy for years to come. you got to protect him with your lives, boys. You got to protect him with your lives because he is the guy. He is your franchise right now. Justin Herbert is your franchise, and you better defend him, and that's why they take a tackle. They don't take Rashawn Slater. They can't get him because he was drafted too early, so they get the third best one out of the bunch, and that is Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. Protect Justin Herbert. He is a national treasure. Well, I'm sorry. I'm really high on Justin Herbert because how well he played with the Chargers, and I think he's going to be fantastic, and I do think he's going to be a great, great quarterback in the future. All right. With the 14th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Kwity Paye, Michigan edge rusher. Yes. With the loss of Everson Griffin, they need someone next to Daniel Hunter, and so you have Kwity Paye on one side, Daniel Hunter on the other, and you got a dangerous two edge rush duo that you can possibly match up in the future with any other edge rushing duo in the league. So yes, that is why I'm going with Kwity Paye for the Minnesota Vikings to really boost that defensive alignment up because losing Everson Griffin is a big pill to swallow, but they get Kwity Paye in the draft, and I think that'll be a big help for them. All right. With the 15th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Mac Jones, quarterback, Alabama. Yes, that's where he is. That's where he belongs. He is going to be... I know Belichick shook his head in disappointment, which sounded like a death sentence for Mac Jones in his pro day. Just seeing him shake his head no is like almost like laser eyes. I'm just gonna laser this kid. He's done. No. But in actuality, I think Daniels likes him, the offensive coordinator, and I think he's going to be the next quarterback. They have Cam Newton for 1 year, so they're going to do the same thing the 49ers are probably going to do. Just have him sit back, learn the offense, get marinated in the NFL a little bit on the bench, and then bring him on up. I think this is a perfect fit for Mac Jones, and I think he can be a good quarterback. He's just not as good as Justin Fields or Trey Lance, in my opinion. That's why I see him dropping to the Patriots who need a quarterback for the future. With the 16th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Patrick Surtain Jr., cornerback, Alabama. Yes, so the second cornerback gets selected. They select Isaiah Simmons last year. He's not doing as good as they thought they were, but maybe he needs to marinate a little more. And so the Cardinals, who desperately need help on the defensive side, they got J.J. Watt, but he's a fossil. No offense to J.J. Watt. I think he's kind of cooked, to be honest with you. But he could booster that with his leadership abilities for that defense. But bottom line is, the offense is set for the Arizona Cardinals. Maybe some running back help. But I think they're set. They'll probably get a tackle later on in the draft, or a guard, or a center, who knows. But I think right now, defense. They need to bolster that defense. The defense is what cost them playoffs right now this year. They had a great start to the season, and the defense kind of collapsed on them. I mean, a little bit on the offense, but mostly it's hands down the defensive side that really let the offense down at the end of the year. So that's why Patrick Surtain goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, with the 17th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders, I almost said Oakland, but I didn't, select Elijah Vera Tucker, interior lineman, USC. Yes, they lost 3 of their key offensive linemen in this offseason. Don't know why they got rid of them. They traded a couple of them, which is ridiculous. That was their one shining light, and they just got rid of them. I just don't understand what John Gruden is thinking at this moment. But regardless, they need offensive lineman help, and taking the USC guard is going to be a big help for them moving forward. With the 18th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker, Notre Dame. Maybe the longest name in the draft goes to Jeremiah. Linebacker for Notre Dame. He was projected to go before this, in a lot of drafts, I see him go like in 13, 14 area, kind of stuff like that. He's a great outside linebacker. I think he could be a big help. He's got speed. He's got power. I think he could be a good coverage guy as well. And I think that's one of the main reasons he's so highly touted, is because he's good on the blitzes, but he also is good in the coverage scheme. So I think that's why he goes so high up. And Miami gets some boosted help, so they get an offensive unit and they get a defensive unit in the same draft. I think that's a win for Miami. Now, here's the big one. With the 19th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Washington football team selects Kyle Trask, quarterback, Florida. What? He's projected to go the second round. What are you thinking? I'll tell you what I'm thinking. They don't have a quarterback right now. They have two quarterbacks. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going to be your quarterback for the future, and Heineke is going to be your backup for the future. I don't think he's going to be the future starting quarterback. So what they need is a future starting quarterback. And with all the other quarterbacks taken, Kyle Trask is the best one available at this moment. So they're going to have Kyle Trask sit on the bench. They don't need him to start right away. Play it by ear with the kid. But yes, Kyle Trask, who's a second-round prospect. And, of course, let me also make something very clear. It's Dan Snyder. It's the Washington football team. Have they ever made a decision in the last couple of years that were like, oh, that's brilliant? I mean, they have, Chase Young was an easy, come on. Chase Young, everyone would have picked him. That's duh. So they want a quarterback for the franchise to sell jerseys, probably, because Dan Snyder is that kind of guy. So they go and take the risk on a quarterback where they obviously need help elsewhere. But yes, they select a quarterback. And that is the biggest shock of the night. Every analyst is going, what? What are you doing? And then you see Mel Kiper having a stroke on the sidelines, or on the newsstand going, why are they selecting them? They need this guy. The Kyle Trask is not the guy, blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to happen. No, I don't hope he has. I'm saying that as an exaggeration. He's not going to have a stroke. But man, that he does need a haircut, though. Sorry, Mel, you need a haircut. I know that's your look. I'm using air quotes, but just trim it a little. Or just, don't have it spiked up like you're trying to be Doc Brown or something. Anyways, that is the biggest shock of the night so far. But we got to keep on rolling. With the 20th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Tavon Jenkins, tackle, Oklahoma State. Yes, one of the last couple of, there's going to be maybe some more offensive tackles taken in the draft, who knows, but definitely need to keep Andy Dalton from getting sacked 30 times in one game. Andy Dalton. They try to trade everything for Russell Wilson. They couldn't get him, and they end up with Andy Dalton. Poor Bears. Poor Bears. They can't do anything right. Anyways, moving on. With the 21st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher, Miami. Kid's fast. Kid can get through that tackle like it's nothing. I've seen him overpower guys. I've seen him just slip through them like he's butter. He has some. He's still raw. I will say that he's still raw, but I think this is a good pickup for Indianapolis. I think it really helps out with their defense and Darius Leonard and among other key pieces. And he does not need to be their guy right away, if you will. He still has some key pieces on that defensive, like DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard. He can just complement those guys, and he's set to go. With the 22nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Caleb Farley, cornerback, Virginia Tech. I do think they need some secondary help. They lost some key secondary members in the offseason, and I think this is a great place to get a second, with all the people going after other key pieces. They basically nag Caleb Farley from the depths of the top 10, top 15 pick, and they make a steal by taking Caleb Farley in the first round. I think he'll be a big help, and I think that's a steal for the Tennessee Titans in this area. Now, with the 23rd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Samuel Cosmi, tackle, Texas. Yes, they selected tackle. Since they drafted a quarterback, they needed to protect him with their lives. Like I did with Justin Herbert, they need to booster that offensive line to save their rookie quarterback. I know they need help on other places. They need help on every single position in the NFL. But I think protecting your quarterback, protecting your key piece that you just drafted with a number 2 pick should be your primary concern. With the 24th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Mayfield, tackle, Michigan. God, Jeff, you're doing all these tackles. Because a lot of teams need offensive help, especially the Pittsburgh Steelers, because of what happened in the playoffs and at the end. They were 11-0 and then crushed. And it wasn't just defense. It wasn't just Juju Smith-Schuster and his dancing on the logos like a fool. The offensive line crumbled at the end of the season. And with the old Ben Roethlisberger coming back for another season, they need to protect him or else he'll turn to dust by the next sack. So that's where I go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They select one of the last available tackles who was first-round prospect in the draft. With the 25th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevon Moehrig, safety, TCU. Yes, the first safety taken is the team that needs a safety help more than anyone else. You know, what I've said about getting help for your new quarterbacks, I would have said for the Jaguars, but their secondary is terrible. I mean, they got Shaquille Griffin in the offseason, big-time contract. That helps a lot, but their safety help, so you could throw 50-yard bombs and their safeties wouldn't go near the wide receivers. So I think getting a safety here for the Jaguars is the much-needed help, just as crucial was it as a quarterback. So safety goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. With the 26th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Azeez Ojulari, Georgia. Yes, the edge rusher from Georgia goes to the Cleveland Browns to boost up that defense and hopefully helps them get to more advancing the playoffs, maybe an AFC Championship game next year. Who knows? But yes, the edge rusher goes to the Browns to complement their number 1 overall pick themselves in Garrett. Browns could be looking at another AFC North title going into this next year. We'll see what happens because it is the Browns after all. Now, with the 27th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota. He's 6'2", 210. I mean, that's pretty tall for a wide receiver. I think he could be a pretty good wide receiver. He didn't play last year. He opted out, and I think that might hurt him going into the NFL. Who knows? But I do feel like this could be a big pickup to complement the no wide receivers that the Ravens have. I mean, Brown is there. He's doing decent, but they don't have a number one wide receiver, and it's clear that Rashad Bateman can be that number 1 wide receiver, and I feel like he can do some good things. Now, with the 28th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Rondale Moore, wide receiver, Purdue. Small but fast. I think this kid can be a great slot receiver to complement Michael Thomas. And I think he can be a great 2 or 3 wide receiver. And I think that will complement. They need wide receiver help because right now, Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, whoever it may be, that'd be the starting quarterback, will need options to throw to because if they all guard Michael Thomas, I think Rondale Moore is a great guy to slide in there. Short, it's quick. You get the ball to him, let him do the work. I think that'll be a great help for the New Orleans Saints right now, and I think he'll be a great pickup with the 28th pick in the draft. Now, with the 29th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida. They dropped the ball by taking a quarterback in the first round last year, and then taking a running back the second round, where they just have Aaron Rodgers and then just re-sign Aaron Jones to a massive deal. So those two picks are basically swept under the rug at the moment. They need wide receivers. So take the best available wide receiver in the draft, Kadarius Toney, with the 29th pick in the draft, and boost those stats that Aaron Rodgers' MVP season had, boost them more with a talented first-round wide receiver prospect. I mean, how do you not draft? I know he had an MVP year last year, but I'm sorry. How do you not draft a wide receiver with any of your picks when you need wide receiver help? But obviously, they went to the NFC Championship game and choked. But regardless, you needed wide receivers. You're going to get one this year. If you don't, I'm going to have to question your general manager, sir. Now, with the 30th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Najee Harris, running back, Alabama. That was the one flaw that the Bills had on the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen's an MVP candidate next year. They have Stephon Diggs, who's maybe arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. What are you missing? You're missing a running back game. You're missing a running game. I think that was a huge factor in this team's biggest flaw was their running game. They had Zach Moss, and they had Singletary. Just not formidable guys that really you can rely on the running game. So why not get the best running back in the draft at the 30th overall selection and booster that offense to even more deadly abilities? Running game helps so much. I mean, ask any team. They didn't have a running game, and I think that's really what cost them in the long run in the AFC Championship game because they kept relying too much on the pass. If you can rely on Najee Harris and you can rely on the running game, this team can be in the Super Bowl next year, and I would not be surprised if that happens with the selection of Najee Harris to really boost that running game. Now, with the 31st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Landon Dickerson, center, Alabama. Yes, they get an interior lineman. I know they lost two of their tackles, but when you get the great center, you can move those guys to the tackle position, possibly. I think this is a good pickup. You might think, oh, they need more outside line help rather than inside line help. But if you watch that game, the inside line did just as terrible as the outside two backups. So I think you go for the interior line, really defense in the key part of the line in the center position. And I think that really helps the Kansas City Chiefs try to brush off what happened last year. Now with the final pick. With the 32nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Greg Newsome, cornerback, Northwestern. I mean, why not booster that defense to be even more deadly than it already is and keep Tom Brady happy on the offensive side of the ball. He's got everything he needs. So booster that corner, booster that secondary, and you can earn a trip back to the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay. Possibly. We'll see what happens. It's always harder to get back to the Super Bowl. So that is the first ever Play Action Cast mock draft, first Play Action Cast episode. Those are all 32 picks. Let me know what you think. Look me up on Twitter at Jeff Malinoff. Look me up on Instagram at Jeff Malinoff. I will be posting probably more stuff. I haven't posted on Twitter in a while, but since getting back to the podcast, I will probably post more and update more. But with that being said, this was the first ever episode of the Play Action Cast. My name is Jeff Malinoff, and I'll see you next time.